I hate to talk in the middle of a video and ruin great music, especially if it's Gershwin in the background. So we've gone on 2 minutes here. I was going to actually do a narrative today about the artwork and how it's evolving. I wonder how many people today still even know what I'm doing here with my left hand. Remember when the quarantine started? They said people were stuck at home and they didn't know what to do. They were sent extra stimulus package checks, money to cash, and they found themselves buying excessive food and alcohol and just sitting in front of television sets. Notice my computers are off, they're dark screens. Sometimes I turn them on, but like many people today, I just look at things online because it's much more convenient. There's little need anymore to even go to a computer and use a keyboard. Remember keyboards you used to type? When was the last time you did anything like this? I wonder if the young people today know what the word writing means. When we write by hand. It's becoming a lost art. Never mind actually trying to use pastel chalks and make artwork, like the new crescent moon with architecture. I placed underneath it the Portland, newest bridge in Portland, the Tillicum Crossing Bridge. This never got completed. I started this about a couple of months ago. It took a lot to transfer the image to get it accurately after taken through a telephoto lens from the east side near the OMSI Science Museum looking west through the two bridge towers. So I just started placing the color into those towers. The colors which oscillate and change. If you've seen it at night, you've noticed it changes color many times. It's one of the most technologically advanced bridges in America today. It senses the water flow through instruments in the piers in the water below and translates the water flow statistics to lights that convey floodlights of color up on the bridge towers at night. So they change from oranges to reds to purples and greens. And I decided to put that in the architecture surrounding the new crescent moon in the evening sky, which when the moon is seen between architectural objects low on the horizon, it appears to look larger. It's what's known as the moon illusion. I'm holding this phone so close here I can't pull it away because I've got it tethered on a charging cord. Let's see if I can do this. I'll just lift it up and back off a ways here. But I've got the light down very low here today, so I'm not able to show you the recent art, which you've already seen me post many times. That's all going to look like it's out of color balance now with artificial flood lamps from indoor lighting, which doesn't match the daylight lighting. There's that moon sketch I did for Sky and Telescope. I completed it from originally starting it 11 years ago. And you probably saw in the past where I had sketched, look at all the reflections here from the daylight. Isn't that just wild and crazy? I can stop that from blocking the daylight and just putting straight light on it from inside here. How's that? Is that any better? I'm sure my friends are going to let me know about it. The famous figures I put in the foreground, the Bixby Canyon Bridge at Big Sur, California. Again, you're not seeing it in its best light because it's got plastic covering over it. They had to put plastic heat wrap over some of our works of art. As they were shown outside last year in September in a large outdoor parking lot over by the original old Portland post office outside. I've got a bottle of wine in the way here. Sorry, that's in the foreground. A doctor had given me that about a month ago when I stopped in the the Mount Tabor area to set the telescope up. He invited me up to his deck to talk to him for a while as his wife and kids were watching something on the television. I had to tell him I haven't watched television since I was 14 or 15, but I see it playing in places, I just don't pay any attention to it. But back to the artwork, the writing. I wish I could set the camera down and do something else I usually do in between all this. Perhaps I could do that real quick, at the risk of walking through my disorderly arranged room and back room and pull out something else of
originally written for solo piano, but arranged there
that I've got to entertain myself with, other than just playing music off the radio or off
arrangement by Raimundo Peñaforte on George Gershwin's
of other devices that other people have recorded.
Good afternoon, I'm John Pittman. Hope you've been enjoying the music today.
So I've usually got classical music going in the background, but I've got to occasionally see if I can do this. I don't know where I'm going to put the camera while I try to hold all this in my hands.
Keep it brief for you, and yet that doesn't mean that it's.
Let's see, this will prop up here and actually.
Remember that all classical Portland comes to you with the music.
Still show this if I can. I'm not sure if the camera's even pointed at me.
If you're already contributing, thank you.
Here we go. Let's try this.
To make a new gift. Well, let's hear from you now at 1-888.
How's that? Is it going to show this?
5722. 1-888-899-5722. For all classical. All classical Portland needs your support at a time when you found the music sustains.
There's not enough room in here to even perform, let alone even tune up. But I have to pick up a musical instrument at least once in a week, if not preferably every day. Playing so long I don't even know where to start because I'm out of practice. You start to forget things when you don't play for a long time. Anyway, I'm not going to try to re-practice and learn anything I haven't played for several months or a year. It's just too much. There's so much to do every day. I cannot imagine why anybody would get bored sitting at home watching television for hours and producing absolutely nothing. I think you've got to do something productive in life. If you don't, the brain begins to rot. It realizes one day it has no purpose, but just to watch what other people do to entertain someone else. So as artists, we're expected to do this. I spoke about it on National Public Radio many times. And I might have brought it up several times before online, but I don't know that my friends want to hear that anymore. They get tired of hearing me speak about when I last spoke on the radio, on NPR's Talk of the Nation 12.5 times. I don't think any of them have gone and ever listened to those particular discussions, the thousands of them that they had every day. But they can be accessed. Here's something most people don't even look at, my DP review site. They think all of my photographs are only in Facebook or in my YouTube site, but there's a digital photography review site you can go to and look at these images in huge resolution. So you can see them much bigger than they show in Facebook. So there's something else for you didn't know. But I'm still midway in working on art. I'm always stuck. Like Leonardo, they said he went into his studio every day, pulled a painting out, stuck it on an easel, and just stared at it for an hour or two, and then he left and put it away and didn't go back to work on it again for maybe many days or weeks. He probably was out doing things to invent something new, or here's one that I did for a NASA site. How many years ago was this? My God, this is back in, oh God, I can't remember. You're not going to see it in resolution here because the video doesn't actually focus into high resolution. I don't know why it doesn't do that. But it was in the cover of a NASA page back in 2006. Is that right? 2006? Solar prominence. Here it is up really close. Let's see if it'll show resolution. It doesn't show resolution. For some reason the video is not showing the full resolution, and I don't know why it doesn't do that. But a gentleman wrote to me from the south, somewhere near the Bible Belt, and wanted to trade his sketches of army men for my sketch. So I told him I'd make a copy of him for him, and he described to me what it meant to him. As he found it that night, he and his wife were looking at it, and he described to me, there I thought he was a young guy just out of the military, but it turns out he tells me he's older than me, and he was in Vietnam and assigned to picking up body parts in a minefield where bodies had been blown up, and this reminded him of like something blowing up, like the insides of bodies, body parts. And then he asked me if this was the hand of God. I said, no, I sketched my right hand because it's free from my left hand doing the artwork. And so he wanted to copy this. So I went to a local Kinko's and had a big full-size copy of it made. It's about, I don't remember what this, it's like 20 inches across by 25 or 28 inches high. And as they made it, they didn't get the colors right. So somebody behind me said, what are they going to do with that reject print? And the guy making it at Kinko says, well, we just throw it away. And this young girl said, well, can I have it? And he says, well, you'd have to buy it and we replace it with a new one. She says, well, I'll pay him for it. And the Kinko's worker says, well, you have to discuss that with Mark. He's the artist. So I said, well, what do they want for the print? It turns out it says it's $40. I said, well, I wouldn't make anything selling it for the same amount you charged me for it. So the young girl says, well, I'll pay you $60. I said, all right, that's fine. So she gave me $60 and I gave her the print and had to pay the Kinko's printing service $40. So I made $20 off a piece of artwork while I stood in line at a Kinko's copy center. Then another couple standing behind her just came back from the Southern California area. They've gone through art galleries and museums. And they said, wow, that's amazing that you did this and you're in NASA. Well, you must be famous. I said, well, I used to speak on NPR's Talk of the Nation. In the morning when I first woke up and I spoke like this, they would ask me, are you calling from another radio station? I said, no, why are you asking me that? And I thought it was a joke, of course. It's because of my morning radio voice. And so people said I should work in radio. So I checked with local stations and they just wanted me to come and volunteer to do like a radio read about what's in the skies right now in astronomy. And so anyway, I got sent to movie sets to act as a background extra actor for, gosh, I don't know, many years. But most people don't know that. They don't even realize that I'm in movies. I'm glad they don't know that. So there's other things they can do besides just go to my Facebook online. They can go to my Mark Seibold YouTube channel, and you're going to see a lot. You're going to see this big front page that looks like it's got the cover photo at the top with my college days camera and my hand on it. I don't even know how that got in there, but or you'll see this, who hasn't seen this yet? My road trip across the country for God knows how long, 6 weeks, over 10,000 miles, allowing people to look at the sun through a solar telescope. But I think this actually goes louder, doesn't it?
How do you describe it to someone who's never seen it before?
I think it looks like a big egg. The yolk.
Does it give you a different interpretation of the sun, seeing it this way?
I think it gives you a better perspective on size.
So a lot of people ask me, I'd ask them, well, how would you describe this to someone who's never seen it before? And then they went on and just described to me. And
First, the sun is small, and then you look at something little on the sun and realize that it is huge.
Ring going on the edge.
It's a young Canadian guy.
That's awesome.
How would you describe that to someone who's never seen it before, through a telescope like this?
You know how I would describe that? I would say, have you ever seen the movie Superman when the redness comes over to destroy the planet and the flaring you get on the top of the ball?
Yep.